on this. We are here recording. Okay. Welcome. Camera's on, right? Kim, you can relate when the camera's on. Time to get into action. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another coaching session. This session is on, we're going to talk about relationship style prospecting, and we're going to talk about leading measures taken from one of the course staples of literature out there in the business world. This is the 4 disciplines of execution, where we talk about leading measures. And so today, I'm going to blend together these 2 concepts. So relationship prospecting, and what does that look like, and how does that change or pivot or emphasize what we're doing today in prospecting and lead generation. And then we're going to tie in what we can learn in this great book into what we get in our business planning tactics section, where we've defined a lot of the activities that we could do. Let's turn to that page really quick. So I've got it on my screen, but just so we have a visual of representation of what I'm talking about. So if this looks familiar to you, those are all the tactics. And these are all the ways that we can impact our goal over time and use a leading measure to move that rock that we see in our in the materials that were sent and emailed to you. Just by quick poll or raise of hand, just give me I did or I didn't. Were you able to print the materials I sent to you, and do you have them there? And can we take notes? Are you ready to take notes? Yes. You can use your or annotate or reactions button. That's what it is. Yep, there you go. Angie, Travis, good. Kim, Joel, okay. So I think moving forward, let's just kind of get in the habit of printing out what I send you ahead of time if you can. And then just be ready to take some notes, because not everything that I'm going to talk about today do I have in the handout. So we're just going to need to have some discussion around it too. Does that sound okay, everybody? Sound good? Okay. And yeah, use your chat, you guys. Good. So Kara said printed. Allison, thumbs up. Okay. So let's grab our notes and let's talk about what I mean by relationship selling or prospecting. Same thing, right? And a lot of you know that I would rather use the term communicate than sales. I think that's a better representation of what my ideal is when we're talking about lead generation, that we learn to communicate well. So let's write this one down first. Well, you know what? Maybe I should. Okay, I'll share my screen a little bit later. I want to kind of have a discussion first before we kind of get too formal with the shared screen stuff. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes the shared screen starts to get a little impersonal. I don't know. It's kind of what I'm sensing. Yeah, it's starting to look like, welcome to my PowerPoint. and everyone's going, another slide. So I'm going to try to be a little better about that, you guys. We're all learning from this new emphasis of online presenting, and I don't want to over zoom, So, all right, first of all, relationship prospecting. Let me define it, and then I'd love to hear from you guys. You can raise your hand. We can have a conversation. A lot of you are very good at this, so I'd love to have us be a collaborative intelligence and talk about this as a group. Here's my definition. Relationship prospecting is the prospecting where the relationship is the overarching priority. With each interaction, the main purpose is to build the relationship. So think about that. With each interaction, and I mean follow up, reach out, initial contact, I'm just meeting someone. It's starting the relationship either from zero and growing, or you've had a relationship for a period of time and you continue to build upon that relationship. So this is also while recognizing my role. It's important to understand this, that we're not just, being friendly and a little Pollyanna about this, that we have a role to play in the relationship. And the role in which we play is real estate professional. So that's what people expect from us. And we play that role. This is the mouthwash of commission breath. Okay? Relationship prospecting is the mouthwash to commission breath. So have you ever met anybody that who you could tell it was all about their sale and all about them, and you know, they just wanted to sell you something? Could you pick up on that? Anybody want to share, you know, how you knew that they were all about them? Anybody? Just give me I'll share. No, nobody? Let me flip the page. Anyone on page 2? Kira, you want to talk for a sec? No? You can? Okay, I'll unmute you. There you go. Ahead.
Just like I just saw somebody say walking on a car lot. I mean, that's the thing I think of immediately, you know, is when you walk onto a car lot, they're right there and they're ready to sell you their car and show you every little nook and cranny and feature about it and don't really want you to leave. You know,
yeah,
or when you walk into a department store, you know, at Nordstrom's and they follow you around in the shoe department and all you want to do is look at the shoes.
So I think that's perfect. So let me tell you, this is why I think that's a perfect example of non-relationship selling. Have you ever had a car salesman say something like this? You know, Kira, maybe we don't have the car that's best for you. Have you ever considered going to, say, our competitor and looking at the Toyota or the Mercedes, or maybe you should look at the Acura. Maybe you should look at the Audi. Have you ever had a salesperson direct you to maybe the competitor? And they do that because if they want to sell you what they have, not what's best for you. So am I right, you guys? Yeah. So we can never be that way. This, you know, the saying is, you know, what you do speaks so much louder than what you say that I can't hear what you say, right? So our tone, our emphasis, our sincerity, our eye contact, all those body language are screaming where our heart is. And so when it's centered really on what's best for them, the whole thing changes. Your demeanor changes. It's you know, you don't care really about the sale per se. And yet we're about to talk about leading and lagging measures. You know, and every time we get on a sales meeting, what do we celebrate? We celebrate a lagging measure. Congratulations on all the sales. You know, we had 101 sales on the Wasatch Front's all-time high. Congratulations, lagging measure. How did we get there? Well, what I hope we did to get there is that we were really good in relationship prospecting. Okay, let me give you some more, guys. Some more, so I hope you're writing this down. More about relationship prospecting. Relationship prospecting is an amplification of agency principles. And I mean real estate agency principles, agency law principles. So what are they? So like loyalty, reasonable care, confidentiality, and diligence. And remember, my adjective here is the amplification of. Okay? So I'm turning it up. Yeah, I'm turning it up. You know, coming from look, I love music, you guys know that, but there is something about feeling the music. It's so loud, right? And where does it hit you? It hits you right here. When you can feel that thumping, right? And it's good and clean and awesome, amplified. So maybe we can amplify things like loyalty. And that means what's best for them is it's the high order bit. Okay? It's the, nothing trumps that. Nothing is a higher priority than what is best for them. Okay, let me give you some more. And I'm there's method to my madness. I'm building up here, getting a running start at this. So you can't do this unless you ask good, meaningful questions. This should be the center of our prospecting. It should not, my engagement should be question centered, not statement centered. Be careful. I know you want to say Berkshire Hathaway's the best. I know you want to say you're the best agent for the job. I know it's just so, because you're passionate about it. But instead, let's ask good, meaningful, focused questions. And I'll give you a few examples of that in a second. It means also that the follow-up process is solution-based. Please write that down. Follow-up process is solution-based. So the first thing I get in my private coachings with this is, well, Will, I don't understand. And so we've got to understand something, that you don't know what you can't be solution-based until you know what the problem is. Okay? And you don't know what the problem is until you ask questions. Okay? So everybody, it's almost as unique as the human being itself. Everyone has a different obstacle in front of them, and it has a different, something is in the way. And if you haven't frankly discovered what that is, then how in the world can you provide a solution? And look, there's a myriad of them. And it's not the things that you think of, guys. It's not always like, I don't have a down payment, my credit score. It's not about the able so much. Okay, it's something else is out there also. Remember when we talked about why people buy or sell, the market conditions, and that's including interest rates and mortgage, okay, that only sheds light on what the challenges are, okay? It's not the reason they buy or sell. That's a big deal, right? To buy or sell a house. That's a huge, look, if I said, hey, Patrick, it's time to sell your house. And he'd say, no, it's not. Right? He's shaking his head. I said, yeah, but I'm a great real estate agent. And he's like, it doesn't matter. But I'm with Berkshire Hathaway, Patrick. I mean, we could get you top dollar. And see, that doesn't matter. Because to Patrick right now, it's not time. It's not right for him to sell his house right now. So we've got to not be so arrogantly focused on, as long as I do what I need to do, everyone's going to choose me. So see, that's back to what's in the way, and when will it be time? And how may I help shed some light on making that decision? Okay. Any thoughts on that? Anybody want to chime in and share any thoughts? Anybody? No? Okay, I'll check out the chat over here. I like what Joe Holden said, and I'm an old Nordstrom shoe sales guy. Okay. And Kimberly, sometimes it's about personality and feeling comfortable with you as a person. That's very true. But when you say comfortable, Kimberly, when we're comfortable with somebody, you'll get people to say, well, Kim understands me. Okay, so, and it's not like everyone has to be Kim, but you have to see the world through Kim's eyes. And as soon as you do, like if we were in a live classroom right now, what I would do is my prop is I would grab one of you right now and I would put you to the side of me right here. And we would look at the world at the same perspective. And when you do that, now you get someone saying, well, I'm comfortable with them. You know, I just felt more connected. You know, I could say something like, well, Jonathan gets me, right? I guess I just trusted John, you know? I just trusted Tyson. So those are not just happenstance. That's a connection that is, and the ingredients of that is trust. Right? It's trust. Ultimately, it's going to be trust because they trust you in a myriad of ways. Okay. Thanks for weighing in here, you guys. Elizabeth says, are you saying that instead of talking about us or the firm, should we be talking about the market and why it's good to see, to sell or buy? I think that's what you meant. Well, I think you should show them. So to Elizabeth's question, I'm a strong proponent of showing someone value instead of telling them my value. Okay. So instead of you saying, look, our marketing is amazing, and sit down and just don't talk because I got to show you all these cool things we do. I think I'd rather illustrate that I like the visual presentations instead of the talking discussions about that. So, you guys heard me say, show me, don't tell me before. And so when someone asks me a question, I show them the answer. Instead of telling them the answer, show them the answer. That way it will say the things that you want to say, but come off arrogantly sometimes when you're saying, look, we're really good at marketing. And they say, what will you do to get exposure? I think that's a really good question. I've got a few samples here. Let's take a look at them. I think that's great, right? I think that's great. But that is still not, that's mid-level, okay? High order bit is what is in the way. There must be something of concern. There must be something that you worry about before you make these moves. And what is it? And do I have a clear understanding about what that is? Okay, that's so communication based. Making sure you don't make assumptions, right? If you guys have heard this, write this down too. When you're making an assumption and you think you know what they're talking about, you might even feel some pressure that you should know what they're talking about, but you really don't. Pause and say, could you tell me a little more about that? Would you mind clarifying just to make sure I know we're on the same page? You know how many times I made an assumption and I followed that up with, could you tell me a little bit more? And then I found out that my assumption was not right. And then how grateful I was that I asked that question. Confident people ask questions. Unconfident people don't want to ask the question because they're afraid of the answer. So see how this is back to relationship based? Because it's question. See, the only reason I'm afraid of the answer is because I don't get the sale. Think about that. I'm afraid of the answer because it hurts me. It has not, see, relationship prospecting has nothing to do with me. It's all about them. It's all about them. So I'm okay with the answer. So I lead with questions, right? Great questions. So one time, I think I told you guys this, I was meeting with somebody and I saw what I thought were tears in their eyes, so take the glasses off, but I could see that their eyes were filling up. And at first I was like, maybe just have, like watery eyes or something. And so there in come kind of the assumptions. And I wondered if I should even say anything. So, because I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable, but I finally relented inside myself and said, it seems like you're emotional about this. And I mean, are you? Because I didn't know the answer. Well, what I got was, yes, I am. And then I could ask, do you mind sharing why? Now we were getting to the heart of the matter. Now I discovered what was really in the way. And now it was more heartfelt and relationship centered. See, that had nothing to do with sellability, affordability, days on market, percentage of listings that have sold, interest rates, probabilities of selling, highest net, all those things that are also important. But remember, it's just not the high order thing, guys. That's all. Okay. I mean, maybe I'm just saying, yeah, Angie says, lead with your heart. Kira's saying, be authentic. This is so important. And Allison is saying, we are becoming part of the most important decisions of people's lives. So true. And they need a trusted guide. Look what Kevin Larson said. Trust is built from the balance of who you are and your abilities to perform for the client. What your value proposition is and what you and your company can do to meet their needs. And I think that's very well said, Kev. Matter of fact, Kev, are you still?
I'm here.
You're here. Oh, okay, good. Do you want to expound on that or give some more thought to that?
Well, you shouldn't oversell yourself or oversell the company. It's a balance of both. And without doing that, if new agents tend to spend a lot of time um, talking about the company because they don't feel confident about their own abilities or their own skills. And that's just natural for them to do that. Experienced agents spend too much time talking about themselves, and they can lose either way. We know this from years and years of sending agents out on relocation appointments.
Yeah.
So somebody has relocation benefits. They're going to hire an agent to get their relocation benefits, and they get to interview one or two agents. And so the relocation company lets them interview two or three people. They then select one of the agents, and the relocation company calls back and asks, why did you select this agent from this company? Said, well, this agent came in and they just talked completely about themselves. We had no idea what they were going to do to sell the house. They just literally went on and on and on about all their accolades and their awards and everything. And we just didn't like it because it seemed like it was all about them, not about us. Another agent came in and talked about all the things they could do to sell the house, but didn't talk about themselves. So they didn't know who the agent was or what their commitment to getting the job done was. So it's a delicate balance between you and the tools that you have to meet their needs. If you go too far one way or the other, it's a recipe for losing business. You have to basically, balance both of them and share both so that the client really understands that you're looking out for their best interests. You're going to use all of your personal assets and all of the assets of the company to get the job done.
That's very well said, Kev. Thanks for weighing in. Don't go anywhere. I'll ask you a few more. Okay. I really do appreciate that. And Kevin, you guys, if you don't know Kevin Larson very well, what a great resource he is for our entire company. I think he's spot on this. Let me put a timeline maybe to our how we prospect. And I guess I'm saying is I don't want to skip step one. Okay. And step one is the why are you considering purchasing and why are you considering selling? And I know that it sounds so obvious, but if you're doing that with sincerity and then you're allowing that to take on its own life, okay, and that conversation starts to expand out, that's when you know you're relationship centered. If you're in a hurry to say, well, look, I brought all the forms with me and I've got all these things I want to talk to you about, then I think we're kind of missing the point about all of that. And because it's got to keep coming back to what they want. When you get to an objection, you can often handle the objection by asking the question like this. I'd say, Kevin, that's a really good question. And I think it's a really big a concern for a lot of our sellers. So here's my question. Do you think if we did A or B, that would help you get what you wanted? And when I say what you wanted, that's just me repeating what they told me, right? So when I do that, they solve their own problem. And they'll say, you know what, you're right. That's probably not going to have any impact on our ability to get that. Or the better solution would be, So that's my, my main message today is to make sure that we get that right. I did want to pull out something that Joel said in the chat, guys. If you're just generally a real estate resource, I think he's nailed it here too, is that, look, people could reach out to you and say, should I refi my house? And you could be a guide for that. It has nothing to do with a commission on a real estate sale or purchase. And I think that's a really good perspective. Linda's saying you listen, and to Linda's point there, it's really hard, to listen if you're not asking good questions. And ask good questions and then stop talking, and let them go. And if you're unsure, ask, could you tell me a little bit more about that? And then Sally says, tell me what's important to you about buying and selling. And I think that's such a great open-end question too, Sally. And that's going to lead you places, right? And so, you know, to Kevin's point, I think when we're really new in the business, we're so afraid of the unknown. And so we don't want to have these discussions. And I think we're missing the opportunity to really connect with somebody. Okay, so thanks for all the input there, you guys. I love the collaborative intelligence. Let's write down a few things. As a matter of fact, grab your chat. Let's do this as a chat exercise. So just get ready to weigh in here. I'm looking for, since we're talking about relationship, I'm looking for what I guess I consider to be 5 keywords. Hey, Angie, you've heard these before, so I'll ask you not to play along this time. But I'm looking for 5 keywords that you would think would be fundamental, you know, necessities in a relationship. Okay, so go ahead and type them in. What are, okay, Kent's got the first one. That's right, loyalty. Michael's right, honesty. And a lot of these are going to be good, guys. I'm going to build on just 5 of them. So we're going to keep, if you're making notes here, let's keep loyalty. Let's keep honesty. And see, Elizabeth, so I love trust, but see, trust is the effect of having something, okay? So that's how I'm looking at it. I mean, if you don't have trust, you don't have a relationship. I mean, well, you can have a relationship of untrust. I have a few politicians I know that I untrust. But look, the effect is trust. So keep playing. Let's see if we can get some more. All these are good. Still need 3 other words here. We have honesty and loyalty so far. But keep trying. This is like Family Feud. The top answer on the board is, and actually the top answer on the board is honesty. Respect, Kira, is an awful lot like trust. It's coming because of. So I'm still looking for something more fundamental than that, but keep trying. Okay, we're all, okay, you want me to help you out? Okay, if your spouse is listening to this, warning, Mayday. I don't want any of you nudged. Hey, pay attention. This is for you.
See Jill and Spence looking at each other.
Yeah, right. They're going, maybe we should have had this class earlier. Okay, here we go, guys. Here they are. First one is honesty. And the next one is gratitude. So gratitude is an inventory of everything that's right. Gratitude is an inventory of everything that's right. Ever have a client that drives you crazy? Maybe a little gratitude, the fact that they're committed to you, or, you know, giving you a try would be a gratitude of everything that's right. Loyalty we got was number 3. Number 4 is a huge one in a relationship. It's forgiveness. So, you know, sometimes things are not going to go well, and we have to forgive and move on. You know, we make mistakes, others make mistakes. We need to forgive. The next one is performance, and this is really, you know, we have a role to play. Okay, like Joel's saying, be a real estate resource. Well, that is our role. But in any relationship, there's a role to play. Maybe I'm the husband. Maybe I'm the son. Maybe I'm the friend, maybe I'm the neighbor, maybe I'm the real estate professional. What am I in the relationship? And someone's expecting me to play that role, right? And so if I don't play that role very well, that can be tough in the relationship, right? It may change the dynamics of the relationship. So that's it. Honesty, gratitude, loyalty, forgiveness, and performance. Yeah, and to Kira's point, to be humble, we should all, humble is one of those things you could never stand up and say, I'm really humble. Yeah. I mean, I'm a lot more humble today than I was yesterday. Even that's odd, right? But I think the humility is a sign that says we're willing to learn something we didn't know. You ever tried to teach somebody something who says they, that they know it all? How does that go? Not very well. All right. Well, look, that kind of puts, I'm almost to the bow on the relationship discussion piece. And then I'm going to dovetail this in to leading measures and all the prospecting ideas we have. But there's one more perspective I want to add. And by the way, Angie got me this sphere as a decoration, and it's forever been kind of a reminder of issues. And I try to look at, so let's just say that this represents prospecting. And notice it's not one side, two sides, right? It has perspective to it, right? I can turn this thing around. It has layers also. And this reminds me to keep perspective because everything is more complicated than just say like one side or the other side. There's more to it. So let's ask ourselves this. All right, go to your chat and tell me what relationships you have. Let me give you the obvious ones. Got a little background noise. If you're not speaking, just put on mute for a sec. Okay, so go to your chat, and here are the obvious ones. You have relationships with buyers and you have relationships with sellers. That's obvious, right? Hey, Kev, can you hit mute, please? I'm not sure where that noise is coming from, but I'm hearing background noise from somebody.
I'm muted right now.
You are okay.
I just unmuted it there.
Okay, I'm still getting background noise from somebody. Okay, all right, well, we're just gonna move forward. I hope you can check to see if you're muted, if you're outside somewhere and there's traffic. All right, so, okay, so you've got relationships with buyers and sellers, but who else do you have relationships with? Write them in the chat. Think about our business world. Thanks, Mike, for the friend. You have a relationship with a broker. Good, we're getting warmer here. Lenders, title people, colleagues. Oh, good, Joe. We have a relationship with our maker. We have relationships with other agents, our center of influence, title companies. Okay, you're kind of getting the point. So do we put out there honesty, gratitude, loyalty, forgiveness, and performance with those relationships? If we do, we've got great fundamentals in how we approach things. Okay, I think I found where the background noise was. Okay. You got to be quick on the mute, guys, I'm telling you. Anyway, you kind of get where I mean. And have you ever thought you wish the world were more grateful, or you wish the world were more honest? And I don't know about you, but what I've discovered is I've got to own that myself first. So I've got to put that out there, right? So, okay, with all of that as a backdrop, now let's look at, let's grab that handout and open that up, and let me, let's see, share screen, hold one sec, and then I just wanted to point out a couple things. Okay. You may have noticed that this is a little different than what we've had in the past. I'm going to start a series of training segments that are born from a question that comes up in coaching, in which I've asked the agent and they've given me permission to share. This agent came into a coaching session, and how many of you have been able to read that story? I'm going to look at my big screen here. How many have been able to read that story already? Okay, half of you. Okay, thanks, Sally, Joel, Mike. Okay, about half of you. Okay, this is a very common story. We've got an agent who's a little newer in the business, very driven personality, by the way. I would consider really an overachiever in many sense, and in the pre-real estate career, just a winner, guys. Phenomenal lady. She's well studied, well practiced, well rehearsed. I mean, always front row to training and classes, and just consumed everything. And that's kind of what she's saying here in this paragraph. Being a little frustrated hearing that there's a lot of business going on, and she's not, participating in it, and kind of felt a little down. And then so she reaches out to me, and we start having this discussion. Now, for the most part in her case, here were some of the remedies. First of all, the marriage between these two principles is one of the biggest human challenges that we will ever face. How can I possibly be disciplined and persistent while being patient at the same time? It's just nearly impossible, isn't it? So then we kind of get a running start, and this is where we start talking about relationship style prospecting and ideas and things that we can do. A lot of you know this already, but don't we need to be centered on our center of influence? So in building our database. So let's just see, maybe you guys could take a little inventory with your own notes that you're taking. Grab your notes, and let's just see how you do in each of these areas. I'll ask a lot of you a couple things like this, and I've got a questionnaire here. Number one, write down how many people are in your center of influence database. Write that number down. Now grab your interaction, your reaction thing on Zoom, and be honest. How many of you know the exact number? Give me a thumbs up. Go ahead, and let's just see how we do in this. I'm watching my big screen to my right. So give me a thumb. Let's see what our percentages are. Hold it up there, because I'm going to pan through all about 50 of us. Okay. So the first thing that I understand is if you don't know the exact number and you're the CEO of your business, that's a problem. Okay, you should know that exact number. All right, well, maybe, is that the thing? No, but it starts to shed a light on something. If you don't know what it is, then you're probably not paying much attention to it, and that's part of the bigger problem. So to dial that in better, what we need to do is spend time on a better, more consistent basis. We're working on that. So look, this is the bullet point. Spend more time in gathering data, emails, and phone numbers. If we have an email, we can do an email campaign. If we have a phone number, we can call and text. If we have a mailing address, we can send printed, stay in touch kind of campaigns. So those three things are really important. So analyze your database and how well you're able to have a full data set. Write that down. Full data set is the goal. Full data set. It's three parts. It's email, it's phone number, it's mailing address. And obviously we'd want a cell phone number, but I think in 2020, most of those are cell phone numbers. Okay. So then we're moving on to how we stay in touch. And here are some of those visuals. We have endless options of what can be sent out, guys. And I'm kind of, I'm crossing over to those classes that you've already been a part of with Joe and Jamie. And I highly recommend that you take some bite-sized pieces and start that. The next one is doing business on Main Street, so to speak, and that is to always have places where you meet new people. Is Nancy Ernie still here? Is Nancy, are you here? She jumped on, maybe she jumped back off. I don't see her. Okay. If there's a powder day, she's on the slopes. Why? Why is she skiing? Everybody, do we all know the answer? Why is she skiing? We know she's going to meet new people, right? Caitlin, this is your kind of prospecting, right? Right, to meet new people. Open houses is the same way. It's a great place. Yeah, it's also very fun, and if you can have fun prospecting, you're nailing it, right? So then we moved on to this follow-up skills, being diligent in how we follow up, and we never just ask, hey, are you interested in buying? Have you given any more thought to moving to Park City? Have you given any more thought, to coming to Utah, or are you giving more thought to moving up? That is a very amateur way of addressing it. Remember, when we first interacted, we discovered a problem. And so now we're saying, I have some information that might help you solve that, right? And that's what's going on here. Okay. Do you guys have this printed out? I already asked you that already. Right? If you do, Paige, don't wreck. Paige is driving. So you've got this image here, and I think this is a great way to dovetail into what are all of our leading measures. So I'm going to cross over to something, guys, and then I'm going to go back and forth between these two images. Remember, in our business planning, we talk about tactics, okay? Our tactics are a detailed approach in how we go about our overall strategy. So if I had a strategy of meeting new people, I've come up with at least 3 or 4 tactics to support the strategy, right? Here's the example. Okay, if the strategy is to gain more listings in, say, the Farmbrook area, the tactics would be how I go about doing that. Tactics might include things like agent-sponsored neighborhood events, monthly marketing reports, email campaigns, door-to-door, etc. All of these are the how we go about doing it. So a leading measure is a tactic. A leading measure is a tactic. So I promised you I would share with you every tactic that I can think of. And here they are. And you already have these. They're in your business planning. You guys still have me as a little thumbnail, don't you? On your video. So remember this? So I open this up and, here it is. And there's all your examples of where we can go. Here are the types of personal contacts. Here's digital tactics. These are print tactics that support each one of these strategies. So strategy number 1, strengthen current relationships. And notice that there's that word, guys, relationships. And here are all the things we can do about that. Build new relationships. Okay. How about a new listing in a price range? Believe it or not, I actually had a top agent say, who does almost 2 million GCI, say, I've got to do better in the lower price ranges. Okay. So, okay, well, we built a strategy around that. And here's one to do better with relocation. So it goes on and on. Here's for development of projects. We build tactics around it. Okay. So when we're talking about this is our overarching goal. And so go to your chat. Let's see how I need to communicate with everybody here. So can you tell me something? What is the rock? Now it's a lagging measure, but give me an example of a lagging measure. Sally, yes, all of this will be on the internet soon. If you guys need any of these materials, just email me and I'll send it to you for now. What is a lagging measure? Go ahead, hit me with the chat. A closed sale, perfect. A closing that we have. It's a listing, right? It's a sale pin. It's an under contract. So in sales meeting, when we say here are our pendings, here are our closings, here are our listings, that's the rock. Okay. So the lever is the leading measures, which causes that to happen, and those are just simply tactics. Everybody understand that? Okay, so how do we become disciplined in pushing down on that lever? I mean, look, you guys could be experts in contract law, all the tools and systems. If we can't have a client to help, how can we do this better and more consistently? Any ideas? Anybody want to share? So if I were to be more healthy, it's kind of hard for me to think about being healthy if I didn't eat better or exercise better. Okay. And all those little things I do would be my leading measures, right? And I could count calorie intake if I wanted to. I could put a number to it. I could talk about my miles that I ran. I don't know, a lot of you guys, maybe you have do you guys have a watch, a workout watch or anything like that? Okay, so let me stop sharing and think about how I would track something. Can you guys see the number on that watch? Well, if you could, it would have my steps. What if my brother, who's run a number of triathlons and Ironmans, he would say, the Garmin never lies. and now we've got these apps that will link us together. What if we did that with our leading measures? What if I wore this and it told me, it told me my leading measures? Would that be eye-opening? Was I spending enough time meeting new people? Was I willing to put myself out there to make a new relationship, make a new friend? Was I willing to do that? And I think that's a mountain for all of us to climb. The pain of staying in the same situation has to be greater than the pain to change sometimes. And when that happens, we usually change. Or we just aspire to meet new people. There's another energy there that I think can drive us. People need an honest agent and one that's loyal and is relationship centered. So I'm looking at the chat here. We have a routine. We can schedule. We can plan. The most underutilized tool we have is our calendar. So we can all go to our calendars and schedule an event that is every day, can't we? We could do that. And so maybe I just need to time block an hour a day for my relationship building, i.e. prospecting, right? i.e. communication. So if I did that better and I reached out to people, it's amazing what can happen, and especially when it's centered on them. And that's kind of my nirvana of what I consider real estate business to be, is to be very centered on them. And you guys, look, I'm not blind about something. If you're really relationship centered, you must be passionate about being better at your craft. You have to be. You've got to learn how to solve their problems on a higher level, because that's the value. And that becomes a magnet, you know? You become a magnet because you can solve problems for them. They won't do a deal without you. So when you're relationship centered, you use those people as the gasoline in your tank to spend time studying. Write this down too. Here's another, you become what you study. So if you're not studying anything, you're not becoming anything. That's scary to me. You become what you study. And if you study because you love it, oh, watch out. Wow, what a beautiful blend. You're doing it because you want to, You're doing it because you want to be better at helping other people. So if you, so go ahead and email me if you don't have access to those materials. Kent, by the way, I will get you those today when you come see me. But if any of you don't have that, now what we're doing in the future is on the Learning Center. I talked to Joe this morning. these classes, we're going to have the thumbnail of the video, and then we'll have the attachment of the materials that can be printed off. And then we're also going to take all of this, which I would consider to be coaching materials. Okay, even my new iteration that's coming, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd probably already have it done. But all the new stuff is going to be out on the intranet site, so you can pull down all of it anytime. How does that sound? So that's all coming. I found a problem that, just in presenting over Zoom, I need a digital copy of all of this. And of course, I've got to get this on my screen, right? And so you're not the only one kind of feeling that need for having some of these materials handy. So I am too. And that's coming soon. And I'll keep you posted on that. Okay, we've got only about 5 minutes left. Anyone have any questions on any of these or comments? I can unmute you and we could just talk for a second about, and then before you guys go, I wanted to show you a couple of pictures from the retirement get-together we had in Bountiful office for Val. And I think that's a good illustration of relationships. So that's going to be kind of my outro before you go, and send everyone out with some sunshine. But anybody want to talk? Any questions that came up during our discussions or comments? Just put in the chat and I'd be happy to unmute you. How about takeaways? What will you do differently after spending an hour with me today? What will you do differently? Okay, track progress. Good, Tyson. Be consistent with your efforts. All right, Kira, let me unmute Kira for a sec. Where are you, Kira? You're moving around. Okay, it says ask to unmute. There you go.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
The one thing I can say that Linda and I have done, I feel pretty consistently since we started a year or so ago, was we don't know where the seller or buyer is going to come from. We just pump the pump and we do what we're supposed to do every single day. So you don't know if it's going to come from the marketing flyer or sitting floor or sitting at a development or going to the grocery store or talking to a friend of a friend. It's every single one of those things that you do collectively that puts the next deal in the pipeline somehow, some way, shape, or form, just by doing the things that we're supposed to be doing on a consistent daily basis. Don't know where it's going to come from. You can go sit floor and it has nothing to do with where the deal's coming from, but you're putting the time and effort out there on a daily basis because you want to. And because, like you're saying, you're trying to be sincere and authentic about wanting to build your business. I don't think we do it perfectly, but we try to do that every single week. And the fruits come when you're doing that.
Well said, Kira. I think that's very well said. In other words, we're kind of always prospecting. I mean, in a way, and I think it's just maybe we just love people better, and it doesn't matter our interaction with everybody. I suppose if I could wave my magic wand, I would really just improve our hearts. And then because then it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, if the heart, if this is good and well-centered, then everything that comes out is going to be just fine. You can make mistakes, but if you're heartfelt, people are okay with that. What they're not okay with is if this is off-centered and it's on you and not on them, and then you say something that's not right, boy, now you're dangerous and you can harm them. And boy, people run from that. Mm-hmm. But I've had many experiences where the less trained but more sincere person was the one that was the most attractive to the client. So it's not about being perfect with every answer to every question on the professional side. I think, again, if we're centered on relationship, we've got it, guys. We've got it. And I know I kind of there's sometimes I guess it's teased a little bit, but I do sincerely love all of you. I love the people that you are. And I wake up every morning and I'm just thrilled to help somebody. When that phone rings and it's one of our agents, I know that you're reaching out for help, and I get to that as quick as I possibly can. And I'm honored to be there in those trenches with you guys. And because I do love the people that you are. And some of you I know better than others. And, but that's just with every relationship. So, but there's something overarching about that. And I hope that that's how we approach other people, is we just generally love people and celebrate their uniqueness and their backgrounds and their cultures, their religious views, the things they want in a house or find important, the things they don't find important. I just think people are amazing in their, their differences, and we can all learn to appreciate and love that. Anything else? We're about to the end here. Do you want to see some pictures?
Sure.
I mean, this was really cool, you guys. Kira, I'm going to keep you unmuted, okay? So
okay.
Feel free to talk in. So let's see, share screen. So what we did, and you're kind of seeing this is the first get together in our company of more than, say, 5 or 6 people. I think we had about 40. And this is our Bountiful office. And this is Val. She's kind of, everyone is saying something. And at this point, Ross is speaking. But we had gone around the entire room, and everybody had something to say about their interactions with Val from that office. Do we have somebody who is in the Bountiful office here? Melinda, were you there? Let's see, was there someone there that wants to chat about this?
Well, I was there. I just thought it was really touching how everyone was talking about how Val had literally helped them or saved their career because of how much she cared about helping them with their business. And that was a common theme, I think, among all the comments. Everybody remembered some way she had touched their lives or touched a transaction that had helped them to be successful.
Thanks, Kev. And he's right, you guys. It was, matter of fact, you can see there's tissues right here. They were being passed around. Yeah, it was very heartfelt. Now, did Val? What did Val do to build all these relationships with everybody? What did she do?
She cared.
She was amazing.
Yeah, so she cared about everybody. Was there one big event where all of a sudden everyone loved Val? Was there one big thing that they did, or was this something over time?
Time.
Yeah, time, Kira. A little bit here and there, every day, and every agent could kind of, testify to that, there were days when they came in here. Tony's kind of jokey. He actually had a poem, I think. Yeah. He played a song and then he had a poem, and that's why everybody's kind of smiling a little bit. And this is Val's husband, Joe. And it was just a really amazing example of what I'm talking about. I'll stop sharing this for a second. It's what I'm talking about, relationship. Relationships endure, they last, but they cost, what do they cost? Well, they cost time, they cost love. They cost, sacrifice in some ways. But, I don't know about you guys, but I don't ever feel like I'm sacrificing for my grandson. I don't think I sacrifice for my wife. So if we could just take some of that and put it into how we look at prospecting and the people we meet, we do it because we just love people. And I'm telling you, that will magnify people to you. Mm-hmm. People will run to you because we're short on trust right now, right? In this world, are we short on that? Who can I trust? So you've got to be centered on them better. And Val did such a great job of that over time, and the love was there. The loyalty is there, right? The gratitude was there. The honesty was there. The forgiveness. Was Val perfect? No. Were the agents perfect? Oh gosh, no. One agent actually confessed that there was a transaction that didn't have a very important document, right? So did she forgive them? Of course, right? They were forgiven before they even made a mistake. So I think this is really powerful, you guys. And it's what I aspire to be. You know, I want to, with a bullhorn, just say, love people, guys, love them, you know, build a relationship, right? Recognize that those leading measures are all part of building relationships. They show your dedication, and then the rock moves, right? Then the rock moves. Okay. Well, thanks for joining me, you guys. If you have any more comments, put them in the chat. We do save these. This one is recorded. I'd love your takeaways before you jet out of here, but I hope you have a great day. Thanks for joining me with coaching. And I appreciate all of you. Yes, I love all of you. So let's continue to climb these challenges that we all face. And please call me anytime you need anything at all. It doesn't matter what time, but if it's after 9 p.m., always call Kevin Larson.
Thanks, Will. It was a good class.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you, Will. Great class.
All right. Appreciate you, Paige. Thanks.
Appreciate you too. Have a good day.
Okay, you too. Bye, Jill.